My friends, good evening. This week, as early as tomorrow, we have Starmer, who is Starmer, the British Prime Minister, with Macron, who needs no introduction, who are going to Washington to meet Donald Trump, the newly elected American president, to read him the riot act, as they say in the United Kingdom. That means they are going to very formally and very seriously tell him a few hard truths. Among them is that Europe is an ancient nation. The United States, by comparison, is like a little puppy still playing with things. It's a nation with many languages, with a long history. And it also has traditions, among them the world wars. There were, in the last century, two world wars that started in Europe, right? Despite being called world wars, they started in Europe. This tradition should continue with the Third World War in 2000, in the 2000s, right? During this century. And then, if we start early, if we manage to have a Third World War this year, let's say, well, we could probably start another one in 20 or 25 years because there are traditions. The Europeans, when there are problems in the United States, if the United States has problems with Mexico, with Canada, or others, the Europeans are not going to go over there, bring peace plans, call for disarmament, want to have agreements signed, or things like that. They don't do that. They don't do that. Peace, if they don't want to make it, let them make it at home. They shouldn't come here trying to impose peace agreements on us when we were this close to starting a third world war. Let me tell you something, my friends. Let's say the Second World War hadn't happened. Let's say 1939 to 1945. How many deaths did that war cause, roughly? It's very hard to find an absolutely exact number. There are the direct deaths, there are the indirect deaths, all of that. Let's say, to satisfy everyone, we're talking about 80 million deaths, just to have a simple calculation. 80 million deaths, but let's say today, just for the sake of demonstration, that this war hadn't happened. Let's say it was replaced by annual wars. Mini wars, right? That break out somewhere in Europe every year, that flare up, and after that year, we have a list of the victims. Every year since 1945. How long has it been since 1945? It's been 80 years. So we would need annually a mini war. Sorry for the word mini. We need a mini war every year. From 1945 until today, with each one causing 1 million deaths to keep the average of the Second World War. The Second World War, you know what I mean. So if you want, when I look at African countries, I even look at failed states with mustached men running them, presidents for life and all that. These countries, even when there's a war, a mustachioed man who stays in power for 25 years and then gets overthrown, it's 5,000 dead. I'm not saying he has the right to cause 5,000 deaths. I'm just saying those are the numbers. Europe, which seems stable, calm, peaceful, still has elites who regularly impose wars on the people. And those wars, they impose them on such a large scale, so massively, so industrially, that they end up spilling over to the rest of the planet and causing deaths elsewhere. The Second World War started in Europe, just like the first one, by the way. But it caused deaths, even in Japan, even in China, everywhere. There were battles on all the seas of the world, on every continent. So it was started in Europe by European elites. So, I mean, today, I wonder if the world wouldn't benefit from intervening for the Europeans to rid them of their elites. Because now it's starting to show, and today we see the European continent becoming extremely belligerent. Look, Europe has problems with Russia. It has problems with China. It has problems with the BRICS countries. In fact, even Macron, I think he wanted to go, but they said no. You please don't come, just stay there. Problems with African countries, many African countries, Burkina Faso, Mali, all of them expelled the French military, expelled France. Others expelled French diplomats. Now it has a problem with the United States. I mean, it's high time to see Europe for what it is. Europe today is a declining continent ruled by extremely corrupt, arrogant elites who are sinking while lecturing the whole world on morality. No one listens to Europe today. No one cares about what Europe thinks. Europe is a non continent, a non economy, a political non entity. And as time goes on, we have more and more European leaders who show arrogance, who show aggressiveness. There's no way to work with them anymore. No one can work with the Europeans anymore. It's over. Let me add something. In all the analyses I hear from various people about this war in Ukraine, I've heard it all. The pro Russians, the pro Ukrainians, all of that. And everyone has their arguments and everything. Now, there's something I'd like to share with you. And I'm going to give you an analysis. My own analysis is a bit special in the sense that it won't quite fit the pattern we're used to hearing. Let me tell you. I'm going to talk to you. Well, it's the African in me coming out again. So I'm going to tell you about you have a farm. At the back of the farm, there's a barn. That barn, every morning you look at it, you tell your family, your neighbors, I don't like that barn. Look at it, it ruins the view. The view would be better without the barn. That's what I'm going to do. One day, I'm going to tear it down, burn the remains, and level the ground. And you say that for 10 years, every morning, you put your chair outside, your coffee, and you say the same thing about that barn. So now here's the story. We arrive one day, and we find that this barn has been demolished. The remains were burned, and the ground was leveled. So the question now, can you say I did it by accident? It wasn't intentional. It just happened by accident. So I was backing up with the tractor. I heard a big boom. It fell. By the time I got there, it had started to catch fire. All of it. No. I don't believe you. I'll say it again. I don't believe you. Why? Because for years you kept saying you were going to do it. And now I see that it was done exactly according to the plan you announced. Now, the European elites, the European leaders, it's still only been a few decades that they've been promising to destroy their country's economy. They promised to bring their country to its knees. They sometimes cite climate, other times something else. There's a long explanation behind it. I could get into it, but we'd be here for an hour and a half. I'd rather not. But the reality is that they've always promised to destroy the economies of European countries. So from there, there's no limit to the tools they can use, that they can deploy to achieve this goal they've been talking about for a very long time. Among these tools is involving Europe in a war, in a world war that could bring about the destruction they've wanted for a very long time, and that could accelerate this plan. That means that without war, without a third world war maybe, it will take them another 20 years for little Europeans to start looking like kids from Biafra, right? For those who get the reference, so they remember the image, the famines and all that. So it would take them realistically 20 or 25 years. Even though, and I say this out of respect for many people listening to me, famine is already a reality for many people in Europe today. But it will become more and more pressing and will affect more and more people if we let these malicious elites stay in power. These malicious elites, let me tell you, aren't at war with Russia. They're at war with you. I mean, the sooner you realize it, the better. I mean, I'm telling you, I'm announcing it to you. If this is the first time you're hearing it, I think it might be a bit surprising. It might be shocking. It might be disturbing. I understand. I get it. It's a reality. I mean, there comes a time, look, someone boards the bus, bumps into you and apologizes. It happens. They accidentally bumped into you and jabbed you in the ribs. Now, if he bumps into you, I'm sorry. Then he pushes you. You fall, I'm sorry. He steps on you, I'm sorry. He kicks you, I'm sorry. There comes a point when you have to realize he's attacking and assaulting you. So what's happening with the leaders of European countries? What they're doing is they're killing their own countries. I'll just give you a simple example. Keir Starmer is a prime minister, and the French understand how long a prime minister's term can be. Sometimes it lasts, sometimes just a few weeks before he's gone. He signed agreements to give money to Ukraine for 100 years, so it's not an agreement between two private individuals. It's not an agreement between Keir Starmer and Zelensky. It's an agreement between the United Kingdom and Ukraine. It's a 100% legal, 100% solid, 100% airtight agreement. That means from now until 2125, we might not even have food by then. There could be British people living like in Haiti, starving because the country is being destroyed very quickly. People are fleeing in large numbers. Businesses are fleeing or closing down. Those who can flee are leaving. Those who can't are shutting down. Really, we're witnessing the collapse of this country. You walk through British streets, what you see today is misery, it's dilapidation, shops, family shops that sometimes have existed for 130 years. 130 years I was reading yesterday in a newspaper. They close, and in their place, a store opens that unlocks phones. Another one that sells vaping devices. A store run by Chinese people, probably in slave-like conditions on the corner, a store that sells American candy, okay, an ethnic shop, a kebab place, and all these stores open and close practically all the time. You go by a month later, they've all changed, you'll find they're closed, there's mail piling up on the floor, the window is dirty, it's already been tagged, all that. You'd go into a shopping mall, half the stores were boarded up, meaning they were covered with wood, done. Half the elevators didn't work. Half the machines, I was at Gatwick this morning, half the machines to pay for parking had out of order written on them. You get to an elevator, it doesn't work. You see what I mean? An entire floor of the parking lot was closed. Closed off with completely twisted plastic barriers and all that, and a bunch of crap and everything. Because, well, there's a problem. Nothing works in this country. There's no money. There's no money. We don't have money for anything anymore. And what's extraordinary? I think that now my French friends will realize that we're living the same reality, you know. We get lessons in economic realism, for example, when a clinic closes. Imagine a clinic is going to close, a local clinic, by the way. By the way, I think it's something, I can actually announce some good news today. I don't think a local clinic is going to close because I'm not sure there are any in this country. Okay, they've all closed. That's a problem from the previous decade, but we're still talking about it. Imagine when we call the elected officials, bring in journalists, residents, we get here, there are signs, picket lines, support for the clinic, and then an official shows up and starts giving you lessons on economic realism. But we can't just print money. We can't print money. I can't just do that. I mean, there are realities today. This clinic needs 5 million. It's running a deficit. There's no money. It's going to close. I'm sorry. That's when it's our own problems. Now, when it comes to paying abroad, of course, we might end up going to the Burkina Faso Water and Wastewater Company and then give them millions for a diversity and gender awareness program. There you go. We pay millions abroad. Millions, 14 billion. Okay, billions that we pay, that's money we can always find. There's no problem. If we have to go into debt, we go into debt. There's no problem. We find it. If we have to print it, we print it. Okay. But for national needs, there isn't any. That's it, none. The problem is that the British are a little bit like the French. They never vote for their own interest. That doesn't happen. It's not possible. You understand? They don't because it's wrong. They prefer to vote the way actors, singers, and the media tell them to. So there you go. Which means that, well, going back to the beginning of the video, I started with Starmer and Macron going to Washington to talk to Trump. Well, I'm still worried. I won't hide that from you. Because the thing that could happen is Trump will just brush them off, right? He'll call them idiots and then send them back home. That's what I hope. But maybe not. Maybe he'll listen to them because he's a businessman. A businessman talks about money. Okay, so you're telling me that it doesn't suit you at all to have peace in Europe? You want a war? Okay, I understand. Yes, Russia is threatening us. We have to start a war. Okay. What's in it for me? What do you want? What are you giving me in return? But let's say I help you with this. But let's say we help you start this war. What do you What do I get in return? You see the problem. That's it. It's that I'm afraid he's talking about money. Because if you talk to him about money, I'm not completely sure he's a man of principle when it comes to what happens outside the United States. He's more of a businessman. So if there's business and the Europeans absolutely want a war, well, if there are a few sextillions to squeeze out of them, why not? Do you know what he's doing today? He asked Zelensky to sign over some mines. Because he says, okay, we've given you money, we've been giving you cash for a long time. Zelensky made a major psychological mistake for Ukraine. Because there are still some huge precedents. During the election campaign, remember, Zelensky went campaigning in the United States with Kamala Harris. She sent a military plane to pick him up. He came. I mean, in terms of interference in American elections, you can't do better than that. Bringing in a foreign leader, parading around with a candidate, that's really huge. There were nasty articles written against Trump by the sitting ambassador of Ukraine. That's something that's usually done separately. All countries, in a subtle and discreet way, would like a certain candidate to win the election. But generally, they refrain from intervening directly. So, when you have the ambassador of a country publishing articles in the local newspapers in their language against a candidate or against a sitting president, I mean, that's something quite unusual in international diplomacy. It's not something you would see, really. So today, Trump tells him, okay, you pay back the money and you're going to pay me back in mines. You're going to give me your mines. Very, very annoying. They say, no, I don't have any debt. He says, no, I don't care. Let's discuss repayment. You have no money for installments, but you own mines with raw materials, and I want those. That's all. Well, yes, it's realistic. The money that was given wasn't given for free. So now, especially since Elon Musk is very close to Trump, and since he needs a certain amount of raw materials for Tesla batteries and other things he makes, what's going to happen? He needs the mines. So he must have whispered in Trump's ear, well, have him grant us a 100-year concession on each mine, and that's it. Just like that, we're even. We come, take everything, bring in American companies. They come, take everything. We put up a fence and guards, and that's it. Period. You get the picture. So there you go. We'll see what happens tomorrow. But I still feel that Zelensky, because he showed himself, he didn't act like a head of state. He showed himself as arrogant, stirring up trouble, going to criticize. Instead of negotiating with Trump, he goes to criticize him. He stirs up trouble in the media. Because it's been a very long time, it's been years that every time he stirs up trouble and starts yelling, we give him money, so we give him billions and billions. Now, I think that with Trump, this game is going to end. And now I don't think he has much time left. I think it would be a miracle if he makes it through February. Maybe he'll last through March. But his days are numbered. That's it. Thank you, my friends, for watching this video until the end. And I'll see you in the next one. See you very soon.